Alrighty then. So I've been using this iPhone 14 Pro here for about 6 or 7 months. So this is my half-year check-in on my experience with this phone. And one thing I will tell you is that I'm pretty happy that I stuck with the iPhone 14 Pro instead of going to the Pro Max, because I don't know what it is. Like, the Pro Max phones of the iPhones just feel really, really big. And I use other big phones like the S23 Ultra and stuff, but I don't know, they just feel gigantic in my hand. So this 14 Pro is like the perfect size. This is actually as small as I would go for a phone. So I think the 6.1 inch screen is ideal for me. It doesn't feel too cramped and still feels like I have enough screen real estate to be able to enjoy navigating iOS and watching movies and stuff. Now, you still have the little bit of the dynamic island here, so the cutout for the Face ID cameras and stuff. And so that can still be annoying when you are watching video content or playing games. It still takes up a decent amount of space, but I have been taking advantage of it because you can download this app. What is it called? Dynamic Notch. So let me get into it. And once you're in the app, you just choose whatever photo that you have on your phone, and then now you can add these cool little kind of additions to the dynamic island, and they have a bunch of different choices here. You can pour yourself a little glass of wine there. You have this kind of like this guy parachuting down from it, and a bunch of cool stuff like this one here, a little bit of a James Bond moment there. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and the good thing is that you can add this to any existing photo that you have or wallpaper that you're using. You don't have to use just wallpapers that already have the cutout for that or the little graphic for it. So it's pretty fun. But yeah, right now I'm rocking the wiener dog here for my choice. But besides that kind of like goofy stuff, the dynamic island I think is really useful when you are using it with apps like the Maps app to get your navigation directions on it, or when you're calling an Uber to be able to have that ride update right there in the dynamic island, so you don't have to keep going back and forth between the app. I know some people see it as useless. I don't know. I find that very useful to be able to have stuff at a glance right here on your screen. And so you can do things like sports scores and a bunch of other stuff. So I just really want to see Apple improve on the use cases of the dynamic island in the next version of iOS. And then that brings me to the other thing that they added in. This is going to be the always on display, because I do use my iPhone a lot when I am riding on my e-bikes, and I love being able to have the screen off but still be able to look down and see the time and see other pieces of information. Whereas on other like Android phones, the always on display can be sometimes just a little too dim, or actually the letters and the numbers and stuff can just be too small. But Apple makes a lot of the things really big and bold with this always on display, so I'm liking it. But again, it can be improved with more customization. You can add some widgets on there, but I still feel like they can really go a little bit further with the customization. And so yeah, the meat of iOS is always going to be consistent, a little bit more closed off from Android. But I think when you talk about an iPhone, you still, one of the main things I talk about is just the ecosystem that you have with this phone. Look, I can actually use my Apple Watch Ultra with this when I do have it as my main phone. I don't have it right now because I'm currently testing an unreleased phone, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, when I am using the iPhone, the Apple Watch Ultra still is my favorite, and I think just the best overall smartwatch at the moment. But also just being able to use AirDrop with my Mac Studio very easily, or even using this iPhone as a remote control for my Apple TV, because I've lost the Apple TV remote in the couch somewhere, but I can, in the meantime, go ahead and find my iPhone and use it as that. So it's the entire ecosystem. And let's talk a little bit more about the design. So what do you think about this purple? At first, I was kind of on the fence as far as like how deep this purple is. I think it could have been a little bit deeper, but I actually like it right now. It's actually grown on me. And before I actually move on, let me clean off this camera module here, because as these modules get bigger and bigger, they just keep getting dirty and dirtier. But low key, Apple with this $19 microfiber cloth is actually one of the best ones that I've used. Very reliable. So in this case, you do get what you pay for, I guess. But I still like this overall boxy nature of the iPhone here. You're starting to see more phones like the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I said the same thing in my review about that phone, that I really love how Samsung is starting to square off that phone and make the display a little bit more flatter. But Apple is definitely already doing that here with the iPhone. So I love the way the phone feels in my hand. But even with all of that, I still am majority of the time a case person. So I'm usually rocking some type of case on my phone. And as far as like a default case, I really like the UAG cases that they have. Some of them work with MagSafe. They have some really cool designs and really good kind of protection for your phone if you do drop it. But right now, what I've been using for the last couple of years on most of my phones is going to be this case from Peak Design. Yes, Peak Design, the people that make bags and tripods and stuff, they also have a mobile system here. And so this case is really good. It feels really nice. But the best thing about this is that it does work with Apple MagSafe. But Peak Design also has their own lineup of accessories that works with this. So they have this wireless charger here that sits on your desk, so you can place your phone on here. And if I did have it plugged in, it will go ahead and start charging, and you can use this in the landscape orientation as well. Then also they have this wallet right here that works really well, so you can attach it on the back And then now here's the actual part where you put your cards in right there. And then also it does fold out so you can prop it up and use this as a kind of like a little stand here on the go. But yeah, they have different bike mounts. So this one is a universal one, so it kind of fits on anything, just wrap it around the handlebars. But this one has a physical connection that it makes with their cases here in this little part right here. So once I attach this on, it's not only using MagSafe, it's also using that connection technology. So this isn't going anywhere. And then they also have like this little tripod that you can use that attaches back here on that center point again. And now you can prop it up in different angles and get some cool shots, especially when I'm riding my bike and stuff. So yeah, again, this isn't an advertisement for this system. I just really like it and I really use it a lot. And I've had some people ask about it. So yeah, Peak Design mobile system is pretty good. All right, so you know what time it is right now. It's time to talk about the cameras, because every single year the iPhone is like the default phone that people compare all the Android phones to when it comes to the cameras. But I will start off by saying that I like the photos that you can take with this phone, right? The iPhone 14 Pro delivers on photo quality. I like the 3x optical zoom that you have. I feel like that's a really good range, and also you still maintain that really good quality. You know, you have the ability to take raw photos and stuff. I don't do it as much with this phone, but you can still do it. And just overall, ultra wide camera, portrait mode and stuff, things overall look really good. But look, there are some areas where the iPhone does fall short compared to some of its Android competitors, like the Galaxy S23 Ultra and its zooming capabilities, being able to get up close and personal with Mickey Mouse here. When I was in Times Square recently, you can't get anywhere close to that capabilities with the iPhone. Oh, and also with taking portrait mode photos, I find that I have to be a little bit further back compared to something like the Pixel 7 Pro. And so you have to be back a little bit, which isn't always bad, but I love having that advantage with the Pixel 7 Pro, where I can actually get really up close and get a portrait mode photo with that nice blurry background. And then also just the overall like HDR and the look of the photos that you get with something like the Pixel 7 Pro here that you can see in these photos, where sometimes on the iPhone, I find that some of the photos, as I'm showing you now, can seem a little bit muddy, a little bit on the gray side, and they don't have as much life to them as I find with some of the other competition out there. But still, overall, it's still a really good system to take photos. It just can be better in certain areas. But I will say that photos are just half the story. With this phone, the iPhone 14 Pro is still my #1 go-to when it comes to mobile video. And so right now for this shot, I'm using my Sony a7S III, but usually my backup camera or my B cam is going to be the iPhone 14 Pro, especially when I am using ProRes video. That does take up a lot of storage space, but still gives me really good quality, great dynamic range. And it's just a really solid backup solution when I'm out on the go, and especially when I'm filming my e-bike videos, that I use my iPhone a lot, because it's way easier to set that up on a small tripod or just to prop it up to get these low angle type of shots. Oh, but actually my favorite thing is going to be the stabilization. I mean, look at this shot of this train. I'm doing a panning shot and I'm walking forward, and there's no shakiness in the video at all. And this type of shot, I would have had to have used like a smartphone gimbal a few years ago. So smartphone stabilization has come a long way, but on the iPhone, it's rock solid. They do have like the action steady mode or whatever. That's only for like extreme, you know, situations where you're going to be running at a full sprint or something, or maybe you're on a roller coaster, but I don't really need it for that. And that does drop the quality of the video. So, you know, usually at like 4K 60, stabilization is great. And then at 4K 60, I can always slow down the video to even get more of a natural slow motion type of shot without losing that quality. So stabilization, one of my favorite features of the cameras. And now here is an example of using the cinematic mode here with the front-facing cameras on this iPhone 14 Pro, and the sun is coming in pretty bright here. So I'm gonna rotate a little bit so you can get an idea of how this performs in different kind of lighting conditions, with the sun beaming down on me and then me walking into the shadows a little bit. But also I do wanna give you an example between the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and its live focus mode or portrait video mode, whatever they call it right now. And so obviously I can't see these results right now. So you let me know down in the comments which one looks best to you. But yeah, here's a cinematic mode using the built-in microphones as well. Let me know what you think. And so look, to put a lid on this camera portion of this video, for photos, Android, videos, iPhone, but still with this phone, you have an all-around solution that is really good. I love the consistency and quality from moving from the front-facing camera to the rear-facing cameras. You still have 4K 60 on every single camera. And also when you are zooming in, when you're recording video, it's very smooth. Sometimes when you're going through those different zoom ranges, it can be kind of jerky on some of the phones, but you don't get that here. But all around, the iPhone 14 Pro still has a really great all around camera system, but it has to be careful in the video department because there are some Android phones that are catching up quickly. And so look, man, this phone came out in 2022, but we're already halfway through 2023, and we still have a little while before we see the iPhone 15 Pro and what that brings. USB-C has been rumored, maybe some solid state buttons and stuff like that, but we'll see. But for right now, this still is a pretty good buy, and luckily we still have WWDC coming up here in June, and that's where we will see the next version of iOS, which is iOS 17. I'm getting old. There's too many iOS versions, so I'm gonna start calling it iOS umpteen. But anyway, if you don't know what that is, just trust me. But anyway, iOS 17, we'll be able to see the beta and stuff like that, and all the new features coming with that in just a few weeks. But for right now, again, I just really want to see Apple invest a little bit more into the customization. And with the pictures, just really fine tune that final look of the photos to really give what people really are asking for, or what they really like that we're seeing from all of these different camera tests and stuff. And I didn't talk about the battery life, but yeah, the battery is just fine on this phone. I can get a day's worth of use out of it, but if I do leave it off the charger and wake up in the morning, usually I am in the red. So if you want the maximum amount of battery, you want to go with the max version of this iPhone 14 Pro. But generally it's fine. I'm just a little spoiled coming from the Galaxy S23 Ultra that can give me like a day and a half. But outside of those things, still a really good solid phone that you get with this iPhone. But what do you think? Drop your comments down below about the iPhone 14 Pro or the 14 or whatever iPhone that you have. Let us know what you think about it right now. But thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.